What's going on, people? Good evening. Welcome to the preview for Manchester United versus Wolves. Should have said welcome to United View first. Welcome to the channel as well. Welcome to the channel. It's because, you know what it is? It's because, yeah, you lot know how I'm feeling about this game. And not just me, actually. Not even making it all about me. We all know how we're all feeling about this game. And even that, actually, some people may be feeling really calm. I certainly am not. This is a big game. So welcome to the preview. Get involved in the comments below if you agree or disagree with what we've been talking about. We're going to talk a little bit about how we feel about the game, how important it is. And the saying must win, I mean, it gets used flippantly, innit? Because all these games in this run and all the games we've been playing are must-win games. But, like, we really are in the bit of must-win. Like, there's no... Like, I say this is must-win because of momentum. If you draw or lose, you can say, oh, well, there's still 3 games to put it right. Got to win 3 in a row. Still, it doesn't change. Still got to put 9 points on the board. Yep. Yeah, in theory. But in reality, that would be crushing, I believe. And I think that will be one hurdle too many that this team mentally wouldn't be able to get over, not beating Wolves. So, yes, Owen, how are you feeling about this game?
Wow. Do you know what it was when you start? You literally press the intro, and then immediately I was like choking. I was going to cough, and I was like, oh, so I've been derailed already. Do you believe? That's my question. Do you believe? We did a show this morning, and I felt as it went on, progressively it got more negative. Negative Fleck reared his head. And to be honest, I'm not going to criticize you for it because I feel like you're speaking your truth. I feel like you're being honest. You're saying how you really feel. I think there's logic in it as well. Honestly, I don't think it's toxic positivity. But you've got to believe, and I believe. I do think we can do it, and I agree with you. It's must win, obviously, because if we don't win, even a draw, but even if we don't win. Then you are talking about disgrace sheet. Then you are talking about 3 consecutive wins. And not necessarily that we can't do it, just the pressure of it. I think that might be too much.
Fancy us at all.
Yeah, exactly. So this, obviously, we need to win on Saturday, but we need more than a win, I think. I think we need more than...
You think it's got to be statement? So you think if we just, like, scrape it 1-0 like how Villa was?
Obviously, we'll take it. Obviously. Yeah. But the point is that there'll still be this feeling of... That negativity that you've got right now, you will still carry that into the next game.
Yeah. Well, ironically, here's even more pessimism for you. Sorry, just while you're in that bag, we could win comfortably on Saturday,
and you still not.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that away we're going to do the same.
No,
because away we are shocking. So it would be like Man United to win by a couple of goals, and it was we should have scored more, but it was 1-0 or 2-0. Yeah. And you think, right, you know what, Bournemouth, and then, do what we do on the road, which is some form of effery. And then, obviously, like the most Man United thing to do, I'm not going to say is to not beat Wolves, but win the next 3. But the most Man United thing to do is probably beat Wolves, like how we beat Villa. Probably should have scored more, but it was tight, but we got there. Not beat Bournemouth, and then win the next 2 at home. That would be the most Man United thing.
Well, that would be in line for what's happened this season, wouldn't it? Exactly. Take care of the home games away from home. You never know.
Draw at Bournemouth and bloody hell.
And like you said, I think irrespective of if we win, how much we win by, we're still going to be going into that Bournemouth game going away from home. I don't know. But if we do win it at the weekend, 2-0, 3-1. Then you would go into the Bournemouth game going, that's a bit better. Like they've reacted, they've bounced back. This has been the thing, and he'll get asked it in the press conference. I'm sure of it. Eric, how'd you bounce back? And his response will be, we've done it already this season. We bounced back. That's what we do. And my thing has been driving me crazy, Flex, because why do we have to wait until the next game to bounce back? Why can't we do it during the game? Why can't we go 1-0 down? Why can't we go 1-0 down and bounce back in the game? And do it like that. Even Ten Hag said it. That's the next step. Do it in the game. And let's be honest, given the pressure, that might happen on Saturday. We could go 1-0 down. And guess what? Can't give up. Because if we do, you're giving up on top 4.
Can't just go bounce back in the next 3.
Yeah, you can't. That's what I mean. We can't keep putting this off to the next game because that's really what we've been doing. When we've been going 1-0 down, it's well, next game, we'll get him next time. No, next time. Next time's running out. We've only got one next time left, actually, really.
Yeah.
We can't
there's only one. What I will say, to bring it back to some positivity, because we can't have this being all negative. And I know I started it off on that, so that's rich coming from me. But in the interest of actually looking at it and getting behind our team, we've only lost one home game all year, and that was the first one we played. We've been, the record at home in the league has been brilliant. We've beaten the very best there, all of the best,
everyone apart from Brighton.
Everyone apart from Brighton. And with some draws, but yeah, we haven't lost. Yeah, we drew against Southampton, drew against Newcastle. I think other than that, every single game's been a win. No, am I right? Yeah, Newcastle 0-0, Southampton 0-0.
Yeah,
and Leeds 2-2. Okay, so 3 draws and 1 loss. Every other game apart from that has been a win. Yeah. And actually, they deserve that credit in the bank to say that we should be winning this. I will say that. That's not Flex judge or no, Flex, you're being too positive. That's me just saying, listen, regardless of what anyone says or feels, we should be winning at home against Wolves. Now, not as in a God-given right, but as in they've got enough in them to be doing that, because home form hasn't been the problem. When it gets to the Bournemouth game, regardless of this fixture, then we're like, I don't know, it could be this, it could be that. But home, we've been good, and we've been creating chances. I just think it's imperative that we don't waste chances again. Wolves aren't a team that are gonna press high and put us under severe pressure. I think they in transitions they'll be good. They'll have moments from set pieces, obviously Neves, shots from distance, etc., etc. I don't think they'll put. I think it'll be like how, and if anything, Villa. To be fair, we was a bit surprised with how dominant we were in that first half. We should have put them to bed. But I think it'll be like that. And bearing in mind this team just beat Villa as well, actually. So yeah, I just think that we have to be on it, and I want to see a reaction from the players. And the last positive I would say is that we've got the whole week to clear our heads. We've had the whole week of training, a whole week for Ten Hag to really, not necessarily like
this year, by the way. It's
crazy.
May. First time in 2023.
Is that the first time? Is that the first time?
Yeah.
Is it really?
I believe so, yes. I think it's the first time since the World Cup finished, they were saying. So that's...
since the World Cup finished, so since November.
Yeah, but that's December, even longer.
Yeah,
that's
longer.
That's mad. It's been a game every 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, so it's not even necessarily a chance for Eric Ten Hag to like sit down and come up with this mega new plan of trying loads of new stuff. But it's a chance for calm. It's a chance to recoup. And it's a chance to actually recharge. Like, because the games are coming thick and fast. I know you can be in your element and you're playing off adrenaline, but when it does get into the latter stages, there can be tired legs, tired minds. There can be. So to have a full 7 days, 6 days, that's big for us.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and the thing is, like you said, we've got to be clinical and we've got to take our chances, because that's what we haven't been doing recently. But even in some of the games where we have actually started well, home and away, I think about Spurs away and I think about Sevilla at home, and starting those games well. But then what happens is you get casual or you drop off in the second half. We need to have a performance that's, I don't think we're ready for a complete performance as of right now, but we certainly got to get to the point whereby there isn't just this massive drop off at some point in the game, like you were saying against Brighton or Spurs, where it's just second half you're going, what happened? Like what happened? We can't afford that. And I know you can say, well, that's the away thing. Yeah, we've seen that at home with United. We've seen that against Sevilla at home. We saw what happened there? Like, I know injuries and stuff like that, but this needs to be a reaction to the recent weeks. This needs to be an understanding of, okay, like, now it's business time. As Ten Hag has said all throughout the season, like, everything gets decided in April and May. And this is going to get decided in May, and it needs to get done, and we need to start off on the right foot as well. And obviously, look, there is a lot of stuff hanging over United at the moment when it comes to the takeover situation. We spoke about that this morning. I just see at the time of actually us recording this, Ben Jacobs has just been on social media and said, as of lunchtime today, that being Thursday, May 11th, no group has been informed that they are the preferred bidder for Manchester United. Feedback is anticipated, but nothing formal as of early Thursday. But to be honest, when it comes to the players, obviously it's a distraction. Obviously, if that was sorted, we'd be probably better equipped at this point, and stuff for next season would be easier to do. But all the players can do is focus on the now, and all they can do is focus on the next few games and try and put themselves in the best position possible for next season and give the fans what they want. Obviously, they can't control who actually takes over United, but they can control whether they win the game or not, and they put a shift in. And that's what they've got to do. Yeah,
exactly. In terms of team news and team selection, as of now, obviously we'll wait for the press conference tomorrow, but as of now, there's nothing fresh and no imminent return. So, you know, in terms of McTominay and Varane, we don't know yet. So, you know, and even if Varane was back yet, he hasn't been on the bench yet or anything. He hasn't been in the squad yet. So you'd imagine this is too soon for him to sort of start, with Bournemouth looking the more likely for him. But Garnacho was on the bench at the London Stadium last week. So that means he was fit enough to be on the bench, you know, 6 days ago, would have trained all this week.
Yeah.
I don't think Erik ten Hag will start him, but I expect to see him. I expect to see him at some stage.
I would expect to see him. And if he doesn't come off the bench this time around, and if we need him to, I would be really surprised. I mean, again, like you said, even at this stage, I know he's got a new contract, but he's still young and he's still at his effective best. 60, 65 minutes, opposition's tired, suddenly something completely different, more direct. We saw it against even the best teams, Man City at Old Trafford earlier on the season. He came on, he was brilliant. So we're gonna need him at points in the game.
What do you? A lot of people talking about, you know, Luke Shaw playing centre back is obviously killing us at left back because Malacia's, you know, a bit rash and, you know, doesn't possess the relationship with Rashford out there on the left. Do you absolutely just keep going with Lindelof and Shaw until Varane's back?
I mean, I think so, because it's one more game, isn't it? But we were talking about
this. And if Varane is back, do you put Varane and Lindelof and then put Shaw back to left back?
Yes.
I would do that.
Yes. Yeah. No Harry, no Maguire. You know, this is too important. There's no time to do anything like that. But I do think there is something to be said about Rashford's drop off in form kind of coinciding with Luke Shaw not being at left back. People kind of overlook that relationship and how much actually Luke Shaw was part of Rashford's uptick in form this season. I know obviously Rashford's kind of played centrally at points too, but also Luke Shaw's been a part of that because he gets balls in the box. His delivery, his technique, it's up there with anyone in the team, really, isn't it? That's why he can easily go from left back to centre back.
Yeah,
he's got that kind of technical player. So I do think that's something to be looked at. And ideally, whilst Luke Shaw is doing really, really well, he is still a left back and he is still helping Marcus Rashford. But that's not an excuse to say that Rashford's performances in the last few games have been good enough, because they haven't. And that's the same for the entirety of the front three. They need to do more. They need to do their job when they get chances, because they will. I don't think there's any doubt that we're going to make chances Saturday, because we've been making chances. Score them. That's all I ask. Score your chances.
It's interesting to see if he persists with Weghorst, surely after last week. But you say that. I don't think he will. Not at home. At home, you know, the team is supposed to be on the front foot. And look, he likes Weghorst. You know, we know that. He trusts him in some games. You know, even bringing him in against West Ham, he said, I think before the game, it was because of height and physicality. He goes, yeah, you know, we need that. He's not afraid to put him in. He's not. But Martial has been sort of indifferent. You know, didn't after the cup semi-final. What was it? Spurs, isn't it? He didn't play. Or he came on late.
Yeah, he's been fit, hasn't he? But he hasn't been
Villa,
playing.
Against Villa, didn't play or didn't start. It was Sancho on the left, Antony on the right, Rashford up front against Villa.
Yeah, I forget. I mean, to be honest, he should start. I mean, again, they've had a week. So
he should be ready to go.
He should be ready to go. And again, not a case of he hasn't been ready to go, but he should be. So I would expect.
What would you go with?
I'll go with Martial through the middle, Rashford on the left. I mean, it's going to be Antony on the right, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then
so that's what he did. See, because when he left Antony on the bench against Aston Villa, he had Eriksen and Sabitzer behind Rashford, or it was pretty much Eriksen, Casemiro, deep and Sabitzer in the 10. Bruno was on the right in that game. Remember, he scored from coming in from
You know
the
what
right.
I'd say?
Sancho was on the left.
I'd say to Ten Hag, you know, obviously this was prior to him actually signing Anthony, but all through pre-season, it was clear he liked Rashford on the left, Bruno as the 10, Sancho on the right, Martial through the middle. And obviously, because of various reasons, we've been unable to play that for the majority of the season. But a couple of times he has, and it has looked good. And I would just say, look, Anthony's done the sort of dirty stuff good recently. He's not been scoring goals. I mean, he scored against Forest, but that was by he's missed chances. Why wouldn't you go with? Why wouldn't you try that? Why wouldn't you go with that? It's fluid and it's something different, and maybe different's kind of needed at the moment.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
At home,
I think the issue, obviously, the only issue with that is one issue that can be counteracted with another point straight away, which is that maybe Sancho hasn't been, you know, lit it up since he come back. But again, it's the same with Anthony. He's not. There's much of a muchness between all the attackers right now. So you may as well try something. And it is what you're right. It is what he preferred. I don't know whether he thinks that because it's near the end of the season, them trying to get to know each other now and get into that groove. Maybe not. Let me just go with what has been the mainstays. But you know, Martial's back and he's been out the whole season and he's got to play. So I don't see a big problem with that. I would actually like to see that just to mix it up a little bit, innit? I mean, you know, like I said there, Anthony didn't start the last home game against Villa, and he did start against Spurs, and he did start against.
He started against
Forest.
Brighton.
And Brighton, sorry, that was it. Brighton, yeah, he came back in for that. So, yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. I think he will probably go with Anthony though.
Yeah, I think he will.
I think he'll probably go with Anthony. Yeah.
Here's a question for you though.
Go on.
How does David De Gea react after the last game? How do you think he reacts? Obviously, he plays. There's no way, anything, you know, like that doesn't happen. We're not expecting a Butland start on Saturday, but how does he react? And also, what's the atmosphere going to be like in the stadium? You know, when the ball's at his feet, or
be like it always is, but it'll be even worse now.
Yeah, a cross comes into the box that you think he should probably come claim that, or he flaps it because they'll put a cross in and they'll put a ball in the box. They'll test him, and they'll probably flap at it or try a punch, or the ball will be played back to him. And the first 10 minutes in particular, 15, Wolves will probably press from the front of the penalty box and see, okay, what have you got about you? You're going to try and play it out, or you're going to go long? And realistically, you should go long every single time. Play those percentages because you can't do it. So what do you think all of that reaction is going to be like?
When he gets the ball at his feet, people behind me and in my block, even if the team's just like, you know, just trying to pass out from the back, and, you know, that's how Ten Hag wants to play, not just hoof it long every time. I sit in quite a unique part. Everyone around me is like, go long. There's all this bloody time. Just get the ball forwards. Because I sit next to a crazy guy called Joe. Big up, Joe. He's like so old. He's had his season ticket like 28 years. He's like, what is, get it bloody forward. What is all dossing around at the back? Get it bloody forward. You saw what happened in Seville. Get rid of it. He's just that. Even if like it's the right moment with time and space to just pass it, take our time, he's like, no. And actually people in around the block, just if it goes back to the hairs, just get rid of it. It's there. It is there 1,000,000%. I'll be lying if I said it wasn't there. So yeah, he will feel that. And to answer your question of how he will respond, I don't know, Owen. I don't know.
Me
neither. I can't put my hand on my heart and say, listen, he's done X, Y, Z in the game. He'll be absolutely fine. He won't pass it straight to them like he does almost once, at least every game. He won't, you know, flap it across if you know, they drop it in on him and bloody don't even know that.
He's not going to change, is he? He's at this point.
No, he can't. He can never change. No,
exactly.
He's not going to change.
I don't know. It's going to be more of the same. I thought it was fascinating when you were talking to the Ajax guys, and I think that's the first time they've been to Old Trafford. Yeah, and they were like, as soon as he got on the ball, you could feel it. Yeah. You know,
they were in Stretford End as well, and Stretford End, they let you know.
Yeah, and you know, and they obviously have come from going to Ajax games several a million times under Ten Hag, and knowing that feeling of the goalkeeper having the ball and not having the tension be raised, you know. And you know, I'll answer the question I asked you: how will he react? I'm with you. I think it'd just be like,
well, look at, I mean, you know, Diego Costa started in the last game. Wolves pretty much, I think, as I'm looking at it, went with a 4-4-2. You know, Neto is obviously good. Nunes on the right. Lamina used to play at BB at Southampton, he was. And Neves in the middle. And he went with Costa and Cunha up front in a 4-4-2. And, you know what you're getting with Diego Costa, don't you? He might be a bit old now, but, you know, he's not going to be afraid on a corner to stand on David De Gea and rough him up.
I would, if I was Diego Costa, first thing I would do, even if I got a booking or whatever, first 5 minutes, if a ball comes into the box, I just jump into De Gea and go screw it. I know they'll give a foul.
And he's exactly. But and that's the thing. He's a shithouse. Always has been. Always has been. You know. So we've got to be ready. You know, they got, you know, like I said, Max Kilman. He's a big guy, big boy.
And Lopetegui, he's done a good job with Wolves. Like he's, people forget when he came in, Wolves they're like bottom of the table, weren't they, or something like that. And he's a good, and this is a guy that again, he's a good manager. Lopetegui's a really good coach. I mean, Spain coach, Real Madrid coach, Sevilla, like, you know, he's proper. And,
he's got pedigree. Like,
exactly.
He knows how to approach these type of games and say, well, you know what, we're going Man United away. Let's tweak this. Let's tweak that. He might even go to a back five. I don't know. I don't watch Wolves enough to say what they definitely will or won't do. But I know, like you said, Lopetegui there is he's experienced enough and astute enough and been in many a big game enough to be like, we're going Old Trafford away. They have to win. We're safe. Just keep it tight. Don't concede. Put them under pressure from corners. David De Gea, look what he just done last game. Test him out first couple minutes. Diego Costa, if he starts, or they might go with Hwang instead because he's quicker. I don't know. And say, listen, anytime it goes back there, just run at him. Just run. He's tactically astute and experienced enough to find a way to hurt us. Whether his players can deliver that, you know, that we don't know. But he's acutely aware. He's a very, very
and you remember as well, he's a coach that was the Spain head coach manager when De Gea was still being picked. He knows exactly about David De Gea. He knows exactly about his strengths and weaknesses and what buttons to press, as it were. So again, he's going to be acutely aware of all of those deficiencies, all of those strengths. And again, whilst I do expect us to win, and I do think it's a positive that the 2 games we've got coming up against 2 teams that are safe, and there's not a lot to play for, and we still do have something to play for. And that old adage, "Oh, they're already on the beach," I don't know, but
I do.
We'd take that. I'd rather play them than teams that are in the bottom 3 right now.
Yeah,
I'd rather play them.
Yeah, exactly. Would you want to go to Leeds away now? Well, maybe not Leeds because that's our rivals, so any day. But you know, would you want to go to Forest away now? Well, actually, we did and we won. But Everton away now, would you want to go there?
Of course not.
No, not at all.
What did you say, Forest away right now? No, I wouldn't. Because
actually,
even the difference of like 3 or 4 weeks is massive.
Exactly.
In this race.
Yeah,
you know?
you just like, to answer what you're saying, you don't want to go there now. You really don't, because again, you can get surprised. Like, look at Brighton probably well, maybe they didn't, but you know, you'd think Everton struggling. What can they really do away at Brighton? You know, and they just absolutely went for it. You know, West Ham away, who were near the bottom, we went there, got mashed up. Leicester away, would you want to go there? I know Liverpool got to go there next, but Liverpool are better on the road than us. They'll probably just about do it. So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. The only thing is that when teams are safe, it can go the other way, where it's like, listen, we're not playing with any nerves. We're not playing up tight where if we concede one, we capitulate, or because it's like, oh, we're losing again and again and again. We're safe. We can have a real go at these. Pressure's off. Try that ball. Try that shot from 30. The pressure's off.
Although it must be said, this is a rarity for us because this is a team that we have beaten away from home this season. And we beat them away from home under Lopetegui. So it's not as if we're going up against them for the first time.
That was his first game, wasn't it?
First Premier League game.
No, it was his first. Yeah, it was his first Premier League. He played in the cup.
Yeah, exactly.
So actually,
but that was the one. No, that was the one where
Rashford
was late and he didn't start, and then Ten Hag brought him on and he scored, and everyone was like, you know,
and
Ten Hag laying down.
They had like a goal line clearance where it was like, oh bloody hell, they could have scored that.
De Gea made a couple of saves, and you know, and it'll be like that because again, Lopetegui's that kind of coach. He'll stifle us. He'll try to stifle us, and he will be like, as we're saying, start fast. He'll be like, keep them contained first 20 minutes, you're in the game. Because they will be, if that is the case. You know what I mean? And the longer the game goes on, if it's 1-0, if it's 2-1, they'll fancy getting back in because we'll give them a chance. And we do drop off. And not just from the player's point of view as well, it's important for Ten Hag, you know, substitution-wise, got to get it right, Eric. You know, a couple of times recently, throughout the season, he's got his subs he done fairly well. And he was being quite proactive for a time, wasn't he? Bringing people on at half-time or 50 minutes and saying it's not working or tweaking substitutions. I mean, in the new camp, he started with Weghorst up front, then he dropped into a 10, and it was brilliant. So he does have that flexibility. He's proved it. But in the last couple of games, he's gone the whole wait to 70 minutes, wait to 75.
Do you want to know something funny from, I know we don't need to go there, but obviously, remember we lost to them last year at home.
Yes, it was New Year's Day, wasn't it? Or something like that. Or 2nd of January, 3rd January. Yeah.
And Matinho scored after, I remember he scored from outside the box. I remember that.
Yeah. And we were
looking at the stat for that game. We had
awful.
9 shots and 2 on target. They had 19 shots.
Yeah, I remember.
6 on top. Like,
they battered us. They absolutely battered us
last year.
I remember that game. I remember that game as well. It was, I believe, if you look at the lineups, you will see a certain Mr. Philip Jones started for us that day.
Yeah,
and he actually did did all right. He did okay.
Yeah. And we were like, you know what? He was the only one who tried. Remember?
Yeah.
And look, it's like it was a 4-2-2-2 formation. That was when Ragnick was in his bag with the 4-2-2-2. It was Wan-Bissaka, Jones, Varane, Shaw, De Gea, McTominay, Matic, Greenwood, Sancho in front ahead of that, and Cavani and Ronaldo up front. And they had Podence. What's happened to Podence recently, actually? Did he leave or was he just not? Where is he? Or was he injured? He's so good.
Injured. I know they had a couple of
Raul Jimenez and Trincao. And then they had the wing backs, Marcel and Semedo. Because I remember they kept getting out every single time.
Well, and remember, that's when we were talking about, you know, Matinho and Neves saying, look, you don't need like legs cover midfield. If you've got ballers, it doesn't matter. If you keep the ball.
Keep the ball.
And that's what we couldn't do. It was embarrassing. Yeah. Absolutely embarrassing.
I mean, I know that was ages ago.
Flex. Yeah. The question is, why is KG calling me?
He just called me as well. He just called me.
KG, we are currently filming a preview. What have you got to say for yourself?
Damn. No wonder. All right. I've got nothing good to say. I wanted advice.
Because, you know, I also heard that I wasn't even your first call. You tried Flex first. Took a bit. I am no one's number 2, yeah? No one's. I'm no one's backup call.
You are so petty. Phone down instantly.
It's nothing he hasn't done to me. Yeah, nothing he hasn't done to me.
Correct. I am no one's number 2.
No one's.
The cheek of him. Listen to him. Listen to the state of him. Nothing good.
He's driving.
Yeah. That's probably going to pick his daughter up or something or whatever. And needs a bit of company on the way.
And then what he does is when he's arrived at his destination, you start hearing the beeps because he's reversing in somewhere. And he goes, anyway, gotta go. And then he hangs up.
You could be in your groove as well. He's like, anyway, I'll let you go. I'll let you go. I didn't ask to go. I'm fine. I'll stay here.
Yeah. You can call me.
Predictions.
I said I believe. And am I confident or is it false belief? I don't know, honestly. But I think I'm going to go with I would want it to be a 2-0, but I'm going to go with a 2-1. What say you?
Tight, nervous, like Villa, where, okay, we could have scored more, but we didn't. Then when it gets to like 70th minute, all that, it gets a bit nervy. We're like, oh, someone's got to block it. They've all got to get through. 1-0. Tight.
We're going to qualify top 4?
I'm going to say yes. And the reason I'm going to say yes is 1, because I believe in the team. I'm a fan. But 2, because I've said if we don't beat Wolves, it's over. So by that logic, if we do beat them, I think we actually could have a decent chance of beating Bournemouth. Maybe. I don't know. Away games are so crazy. But you know what? Let me just stick to this game. I'm just yes. I think we will fall over it.
I agree with you. My prediction from the beginning has been that we will get the top 4. We will win this game. but it will go to the final day of the season. I think that's what it'll go to. That's my prediction.
Yeah, because basically we're saying we're incapable of winning 3 in a row at this point.
3 in a row, I would love for it to final day of the season to be like, done it.
Yeah.
You know, 3 in a
But
row,
do you know what though? I will stand by this. Again, this could get clipped and laughed at anyway, but this is how I feel.
Yeah.
I'll stand by this prediction. If we can create a scenario of a big night under the lights against Chelsea on a Thursday night where we've beat Bournemouth, we've beat Bournemouth and we've beat Wolves, we will do it in that game. Old Trafford would be rocking, we'll be up for it. Big game, one against one of the big boys, even though they've been crap, but you know, they might be playing a bit better. They're still Chelsea. They ain't not just going to be amazing all of a sudden. We can
and that could be something proper big, couldn't it? Because that could be like us going, if we win, we've got it. And they're like, look, we've got nothing to play for this season, but we can stop them.
Exactly.
That's what they'll be thinking.
And make them go to the last day or whatever it's going to be. But, you know, or if we
win this one, lose against Bournemouth, and they're like, we've got to win. Otherwise, if we don't win, we don't get top 4. And they're like, we can stop them.
Imagine that. So there's so many subplots, which we won't know obviously yet. But I just feel what's in our hands is if we can create that scenario whereby when Chelsea come to Old Trafford, they've got to come under the lights at Old Trafford. It's like one last big game, home game of the season. Like we've had them already, where most of them have just been, you know, Brentford and Southampton and Aston Villa. They're not the big, you know, the atmosphere wise for a home game. Obviously, we've got the cup final. That there could be like one of the usual top 4 games. Do you know what I mean? Where the crowd's up, under the lights, OT, 90 minutes away. Go win this game. You've sorted your top 4. You can all chill next week. So if we beat Wolves and Bournemouth, I will predict we will do 3 in a row. But if we don't beat Wolves, I don't think we'll do 3 in a row. And then I don't think we'll get top 4.
Yeah, this one's key. You've got to start the run. And you've got to stop the rot. We've lost 2 in a row.
Exactly. It is a rot. So, yeah, mini one.
Yeah.
And we lost them in bad circumstances. So, yes. Okay, smash the like on the video. Let us know what your predicted lineup is, what you would do with the team. Would you make any changes to it? What would you do up front? What would you do in the back line? Would you start Malacia at left back again and keep Wan-Bissaka? Would you put Dalot back at left back and have Wan-Bissaka right back? Would you have Malacia and Dalot? Yeah, let us know how you think and your score prediction as well, because again, it's cliche, but we cannot, I repeat, we cannot afford to lose this game. We just can't. I don't care that there's 3 other games and we can win all 3. No, I know what this team's like. And if we don't beat Wolves, in my opinion, I don't see us doing it. So we must win at all costs. Guys, we'll see you again soon. Take care. Peace.